everybody. Welcome to episode 42. NFL Week 1 begins on the Sports Hour Plus with Miller and Watson. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so if you see me drinking Gatorade or drinking water or squinting, it's not that I'm mad at you. It's that I have a raging sinus infection. But I'm happy to be back from Nashville this week. Next week, I'm at a wedding, then I'm at a bridal shower, all the stuff going on. Having a good time. Kylan, what's up with you?
I'm good. I'm good, Morgan. Knock on wood, still doing well health wise. The seasons are changing, even though I feel like we got like two more, at least two heat waves left in this summer. But
I know.
everything's going well. Football got a fantasy draft at 7:30. Might need your advice with that because I have not. I've been in news and sports stuff and with the Tribune, so I haven't even like
I know I
dove
did mine a
into
few
it
days
now,
ago.
out of sight, out of mind. Not working with Matthew Berry and them anymore. So like I'm not fantasy football all the time anymore. So and I've been in these, today is early access for 2K. So like I've been in these streets, but it's been good so far. So far so good. Obviously, seasons are changing. I don't really care about fall, but I know a lot of you PSL lovers will be. I'm not
Oh,
saying you,
I
Morgan.
love fall.
I know a lot of you PSL and leaf raking, jumping in leaves, and what is it, the haunted mazes and all that other stuff that y'all do. I know y'all can't wait. The only thing I like about this time of year is the hot and cold apple cider. That's it. I
Mm,
know that's very stereotypical Northeast of me, but I
I
can't
love
turn
me
down.
some fall.
I can't turn down a hot or a cold apple cider, man. Can't do it. It's always good, especially when you get it from the Amish people. It's always good to have
True,
it.
true.
Always good to have it.
Well, speaking of fall and all good things, give us a follow on our social media platforms, posting some cute pictures with pumpkins and our cider and everything fun with that. But we're gonna get
And,
right into it because we got a lot of football to talk about today.
and yelling and
But
yelling
first,
at
sorry,
us.
yeah, we do need to just send some prayers and condolences to the four victims. And the rest, the others that are wounded for the, I believe it's the Appalachies, how you say it, Appalachie High School.
Close enough.
Yeah, shooting in Winder, Georgia. There's a suspect that's in custody. We don't really know much else right now, but it's just tragedy, especially only being back at school for about a week. It's the last thing that kids or parents want to be thinking about. So, sending our prayers to all the victims' families and anybody else that was involved.
hmm
And then now we're going to get right into it. So Patrick Surtain signs a 4-year contract extension to stay in Denver. I think this was like half the people saw this coming. Half the people were like, he's not staying. And you know, um, I don't have a lot of like strong opinions on this one. I have to say, I think it's great that he's staying, but I didn't really feel like it was a make or break deal for the Broncos. How about you?
Yeah, I think again, I feel like this is what. Sorry, let me put my phone on vibrate. We don't want that anymore. I think this is kind of like what happened with Brandon Ayuk last week. This is kind of like to borrow an old saying, like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. Like Patrick Surtain and Brandon Ayuk kind of took advantage of the fact that either the deals weren't good enough or they really weren't trying to leave their situations. I guess for Patrick Sertain is great. There aren't really a lot of shutdown corners, especially in the AFC. Having a shutdown corner is at a premium, especially when you have to see the God QB Patrick Mahomes at least twice a year. I think that Patrick Surtain has benefited from that, and good for him. I'm always pro people getting the money, especially as we all know what the NFL stands for. Not for long. Get your money, kid. He's translated well. Good for him. Kind of says a lot about what's behind him at Denver. It's good for him. Good for Denver for keeping him because it could have
Yes.
easily, just like what happened with the Chiefs, right? Sometimes these things end up like Darius Sneed ended up in Tennessee because the Chiefs didn't want to pay him. So good for, Denver kind of benefited from being the sucky team that they are, that they had money and no one wants to come to Denver. Because I think, we got into this a little bit with what happened with, I feel like this is kind of like a consequence of what they did to Russell Wilson coming back to bite them. Obviously, it's Patrick Surtain's gain, and the Broncos is lost because they have to pay him now.
Yeah, so he signed a terms of a 4-year extension worth $96 million, including $77.5 guaranteed. So make him the highest paid DB in NFL history. And I think there's a lot of people around the league would say that he's the number one DB in the league. Cornerback, DB, whatever you want to call him. In the league right now. Like I said, I don't think this is going to like make or break the Broncos season. Like I just still don't think that they have what it takes to be a playoff caliber team, but I think that it definitely helps. And it's never a bad thing to not have to worry about your cornerback situation for 4 years.
Yeah, at least one side. At least you don't have to worry about one side of your defense.
Yeah.
Speaking of what's going on in Denver, I mean, this is prime example. Oregon, man, Bo Nix named the starting quarterback for the Broncos, and my reaction to this is good for him. I don't know. He kind of is that prototypical quarterback that you could see really flourishing in the Sean Payton system. And I think that's good for him. I definitely think that he's definitely more of a young running quarterback, more of a more prototypical quarterback in today's NFL. I don't know if he has. We'll see if he has the arm strength to be able to throw those deep balls and things that you need to do. But good for him. We always like to see rookies doing well when they first start. So, good for him. Like you said, I still have the Broncos as like the 4th team in that division.
Yeah, I do too.
So like I think it's a great situation for him to be in, and again, I
think it's a low pressure situation for them right now. I think that there's their division is solid, and I think that they they'll have a year to improve, kind of sit back without a ton of pressure. I think from fans, from ownership. I think that it's kind of a rebuild, regrowing year, and I think Bo Nix is going to be great in their system. And I'm excited to see what he does.
Right. And then you always have, like I said, the Sean Payton of it all, right? Mm-hmm. If you can't make it work with Bo Nix, then it was him. And he needs to be, like I said, with the Russell Wilson situation, and we'll get to this in a few segments. If there's any coach that should be looking at the hot seat if it don't work out this season, it's definitely Sean Payton. So moving right along to North Jersey. Haason Reddick and the Jets are still far away on an extension. I know y'all thought that, oh my goodness, the Jets couldn't freak it up anymore, but they are still freaking it up with Haason Reddick. They're still far away on an extension, and the holdout continues. And my reaction to this is, again, I don't understand, especially when the Eagles made it clear to any team that wanted him that they would need to sign a contract extension with him. Why you didn't get that? Why you didn't NBA this and get it signed, get it done already?
I have no idea.
And like the Jets continue to freak it up, man. Like they're signing all these other cornerbacks and taking care of the defense on all the other end. And Haason Reddick must be like, oh, I still got my Eagles money. I still got my Panthers money. I'm good. He'll still stay in Japan playing samurai until the season's over and watch the Jets fall apart. So like, I just don't understand for the Jets, and they're refusing. I mean, Morgan, you may have more recent information than I do on this, but they're trying. He wants to be traded, and they keep saying they won't trade him, but they're not trying to give him his money. So I don't understand what they think is going to happen here, because Haason Reddick is very much like, this is a man that was in purgatory in Carolina, went to the oasis that was football success in Philly, and now is back in purgatory with the Jets. So I really, for the Jets, I just don't know why you just don't trade him at this point, because it's clear.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that they're not getting any good looks for him because nobody wants him right now. That's the only thing I can think of as to why they are refusing a trade. And I don't know, maybe they're just mad and they're trying to be like, screw you. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is or why. I don't know where he's going to play. I think there's a good chance that he does play for the Jets, but I don't think we really know what he's asking for exactly. I just think that he doesn't know what he wants. That's kind of what I'm getting from it. Is it like he wants a crazy big number, right? And we know that, but he also doesn't want to play for the Jets. So even if the Jets offer him that crazy big number, he doesn't want to play there, is what I'm getting from it. So
I mean, I can't blame him. Would you want to play for the Jets?
no, I wouldn't either. But
for me, I think he has the perfect opportunity. I think that there is a team that you rep very well that might need somebody who can break the game open on the defensive side. I think the Giants could use him. There's this conspiracy theory that the Eagles might go back and get him. I don't know why the Eagles would do that. That was just kind of a waste of a trade in picks then for Howie to come back and be like, oh, we'll take him back and we'll pay him this time after not wanting to pay him a few months ago. But, as we know, the NFL is a weird business, and things that were impossible one week are possible next week. Like I said last week, I thought Brandon Ayuk would be going 6 hours down the road from me to Pittsburgh, and he stays in San Fran. So weird things do happen in the NFL, but in this case, I think it's either, if the Jets are going to do anything, they should send them to a contender, like send them to Kansas City, send them to the Jacksonville Jaguars, like send them somewhere where he can win. Obviously not in division. The Dolphins could use him. The Patriots could probably use him. Nobody wants to go to the Patriots right now. So I mean, I feel like that's the option. Again, I've said all these teams, and the Bills have not. Let me just say this: send them to the Bills. I don't know what the Bills are doing.
I know you've said that, yeah.
but it's kind of a weird thing.
I feel like I'm just so sick of talking about him, to be honest with you. I'm just like, call me back when he finally is signed somewhere. Like, it's just, he's ridiculous. The Jets are ridiculous for not giving him a contract from before. And like, he's just making this all about him, and it's annoying and it's frustrating. And, I don't think many people are caring anymore. They just want to know where he's going to play. So speaking of people that have reworked their contracts, gotten new contract extensions, things like that, Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel's reworked contracts to stay in the Bay Area. I'm just getting the feeling that they want to win there. That I feel like they've put a lot into this team, and they've gone to the Super Bowl twice, lost twice, and they want to win, and they want to do it there.
Yeah, at this point, I just think that, again, it's kind of like what you said. I don't think anybody, especially Trent Williams, besides your old team, your old team and his old team, the Commanders, I don't think anybody really wants Trent Williams right now, especially at dang near 40 years old. Yeah. Deebo is Deebo. I think people now are realizing that, especially after what the Chiefs did to him in the Super Bowl, that you can kind of scheme around shutting down Deebo Samuels. And I think that, I think at this point, right, I think at this point, like you said, they just want to win there. I don't know if winning will happen, especially with the way what the Eagles have been doing, and like the Packers, we'll laugh at this, but the Cowboys and all this other stuff. But I think, like I said, I think the Niners are still number 2. I think what this means for the Niners is they're going all in for one more year, and then next year, when it's Brock Purdy's turn to get paid, 2 or 3 of these guys won't be there no more.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's true. I think you're very right. They have one more year in his rookie deal. They have one more year to kind of do it, while the NFC is still kind of bad. There isn't a lot of talent on the NFC. The AFC is way harder to win. They're on the NFC, right? I'm not crazy.
NFC, yes.
NFC yeah. Okay, I was like, NFC wait, West. My brain is so broken right now. But I think that there's well more teams that I think could win in the AFC than can win in the NFC. So why not go all in for one more year, and try and win?
Like I said, their chief competition is the Eagles, and the Eagles have gotten a lot better, and the Niners, it seems like, were pretty stagnant this year. But what this means for the Niners and for Niners fans, because they will at me, because they know that I've been telling
the Lions too. Yeah.
They know I've been the cheap person saying it's over for the Niners after next year, and I just want to keep saying that. I'm telling y'all, it's over once Brock Purdy gets paid. So, if you don't do it this year, Like I said last week that John Lynch. I'm looking at John Lynch kind of suspect because I don't think he plans well. And so like this is the time where he could have proved me wrong and he didn't. It's kind of like the Buffalo Bills GM. They just continue to want to prove me right. So I'll take it. So I am of the mindset that it's either this year or it's time to blow it up because Brock Purdy's getting paid next year. So it's either this year or blow it up. So, we'll see. That's what this means for the 49ers. This is the end of this version of the 49ers if they don't win this year.
Yeah. No. I don't disagree with that. So looking on week 1,
you can start.
I have to say, not a lot of these games are like really exciting me. I mean, I obviously think the Ravens Chiefs tomorrow night is going to be, I think that's probably going to be the best game of week 1. And then probably Packers and Eagles after that. I think that'll be cool. That game is in Brazil. That'll just kind of, I think, be a cool atmosphere. But, I don't really have, going down kind of the rest of the list. We have Vikings, Giants, Patriots, Bengals, Steelers, Falcons, Texans, Colts. I think that'll be a good game. We got 2 second years coming off. Everybody is expecting CJ Stroud to be excellent this year. So let's see if he can kind of get away from the sophomore slump. And then we didn't really get to see Anthony Richardson a whole lot last year. So kind of seeing what he can do. Cardinals, Bills, Titans, and Bears, I think is exciting. Obviously, just to see Caleb Williams in action. I think that's exciting. Jaguars, Dolphins doesn't extraordinarily excite me. Broncos, Seahawks, Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Browns, Commanders, Bucks, Rams, Lions, Jets, 49ers. So I don't know, not anything that screams crazy excitement to me, but how about you?
I mean, I think the 2 best games are like you said, tomorrow, and which is crazy that it's tomorrow and Friday. I think that Cowboys Browns game is going to be exciting. I want to see if Deshaun can do it against the Cowboys defense that literally is just Micah Parsons and a bunch of nobodies. So I want to see how that goes for him. I think that's going to be exciting. I think Houston, Indiana is going to be exciting just because I want to see, can CJ Stroud and them take another step? Was last year a fluke? I think that'll be interesting to see Houston and Indiana go at it. I don't know. Low key, I'm looking at this Jacksonville Miami matchup, and I think that's good. Sunshine versus Tua. I'd love to see that. I think that'll be good. That'll be good as well. I'm like you. I'm looking at the schedule. I think that's it. Houston, Indiana, Cowboys, Browns. I think like Eagles. To me, I disagree with you slightly. I think Eagles Packers will be the better game. I think just because like the Ravens 49ers Chiefs tomorrow will be a slugfest, but more of a defensive slugfest because, like, as you know, these first games are always, we lie all the time that these games are good, but like, after preseason, the first game of the season is always slow, just because like most of these starters didn't play, so it's always a slugfest, and always like every team is in the mud. But yeah, I think those are my 4 right there: Browns, Cowboys, Eagles, Packers, Ravens, Chiefs. I feel like I missed a game. Houston, Indiana, just to see how that goes. And I think Denver, Seattle too, just because I want to see Bo Nix against Seattle too, see how that goes for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll go well, but because it never does when there's when there's a rookie versus a stout defense, but we'll see.
So it's kind of talking about all these games and going through them. What coaches do you think are kind of on the hot seat? Who has the most pressure? I mean, I'll give you one.
Go ahead.
Right away. I mean, my coach, Daboll, I feel like is seriously.
You think Daboll's on the hot?
Oh yeah. I mean, if they don't do something, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, just something this year.
Okay. obviously I don't buy into everything when it comes to this thing, but I definitely think Nick Sirianni, if it doesn't start well, which I think it will, he's on the hot seat. I think Kellen Moore is a coach in waiting. I feel like Sean McDermott is under the hot seat as well. Um, Low key, I think if it doesn't go well in San Fran, I said this about Seattle. I think what's his name's on the hot seat too. I think Gruden's out. Not Gruden. Morgan. What's the coach's name in the 49ers? Is it
Kyle
Gruden?
Shanahan?
Oh yeah, Shanahan's out of here. I feel like if it doesn't work out, the 49ers, just because I don't think you can keep justifying like it falling apart and then not being the coach.
Yeah.
So I think he's on the hot seat. I said Sean McDermott, um, Nick Sirianni. I think the Cowboys. I think Cowboys coach is also on the hot seat too. I know he just got there, but I feel like he's on the hot seat. Um, he's always on the hot
I was
seat.
gonna say, I feel like every Cowboys coach is just perpetually always on the hot seat.
But he's definitely like this year. I think especially like because I think we all agree. Although a Cowboys fan did spend a lot of time with me on Sunday arguing with me that the Eagles are going to suck more than the Cowboys because they're going to be able to reach a deal with Dak. But I think this is the last dance energy for the Cowboys. So I think it's over because once Dak leaves, then there won't be a reason to keep what's his name around anymore. So I think that there won't be a coach, and I think CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. I think Micah Parsons will be looking for the exit soon there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are mine. I'm trying to think of
No, I
anybody
think
else.
I agree with all of those actually.
Yeah.
I don't see Kyle Shanahan as much as you do. I know you see him on the hot seat more than I do because you're a 49ers hater, but
I'm not a 49ers hater. I'll tell the 49ers fans the truth. They
okay.
just don't want to. They just don't want to see it. I mean, look, I told Seahawks fans that Pete Carroll was gone. All y'all laughed at me, and what happened? like, like, I'm just saying that you can keep getting to the big dance, but eventually, like, especially once Brock Purdy gets paid, they're gonna have to face the question of is Shanahan the Mark Jackson? And do they need to bring this in NBA terms for people? Like, is Shanahan a Mark Jackson? Or, for lack of a better term, for a better comparison, even though Bill Cowher did win the Super Bowl before Mike Tomlin came in, but is he the Bill Cowher? And do they need a Mike Tomlin to take them over the top and get them to a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
So.
Now, speaking of the big dance, we're going to talk about the team that is champions of the big dance 2 times in a row, the UConn Huskies. So are they headed to the Big 12? Seems like it, honestly.
Oh wow, Morgan. Usually you're the person that tells me it's not true. It's not true.
No, and I think when you look at the numbers, it makes sense. I hate it that it makes sense, but football is just always going to be king when it comes to TV deals, and the money that they would get going to the Big 12 for the TV deals would impact the basketball team greatly. I don't love it. I mean, I wish they would stay in the Big East forever. They're fun in the Big East. They're a staple of the Big East. Big East basketball is undeniably awesome, and undeniably one of the best conferences in basketball. However, sometimes you need the money, and you can't get that kind of money anywhere else besides unless you're Notre Dame. You can't get that kind of money being an independent football team. And so unfortunately, I think that as much as I hate to say it, I think that it does make sense for them to possibly make that move.
I mean, look, as I said last week, I don't really think this is about football because let's be real, UConn football.
It's not about football. It's about money. It's about money, which is the main thing, and you're not going to get that money in basketball, which I think is the problem.
Yeah, UConn football hasn't been good since what? The Carter administration? I honestly think, I disagree with you on one aspect. It's clearly about the money. But I think this is more about basketball. And even though, taking it to the other realm, I don't believe in trickle-down economics any more than anybody else does. I do believe that UConn sees like more basketball money than anything else because, like, it's not like there's a bunch of football powerhouses in the Big 12 besides like Baylor, TCU. You want to put Colorado in there, fine, but I think this is more about basketball because I think they feel like the Big 12 is more prestigious than the Big East, where like in the Big East, like UConn, their only real competition, natty wise, is Villanova, and then the ghost of Georgetown sometimes. Whereas in the Big 12, you've got Kansas, you've got Kansas, and it looks better if you're in a conference with
Yeah.
Kansas, and it doesn't look, not that I think that their championships are fraudulent, but it looks less fraudulent if you're beating like Kansas, Baylor, like there's way more recent national titles in the Big 12, right? Houston as always, even though UConn has Houston back-to-back years, right? Like you still have Houston's in the Big 12 now. Cincinnati's there. So like I think it's more, honestly, I want to give them credit that I think this is more about basketball that I think people are realizing because I mean, personally, like I'm a fan of UConn. I know Villanova people are gonna hate me saying that, but I am a fan of UConn and men's and women's basketball, and I just think it looks better when you're, and for all their other sports that do well too. It looks better when you're beating Kansas, TCU, Baylor, Colorado than it does when you're beating when Villanova is your closest rival. Not that anything's wrong with that, but when Villanova is your closest rival, it's kind of like, are you really beating anybody? Whereas in the Big 12, you don't really have that thing. I mean, obviously, I don't. Who knows how close this is or isn't to happening? But like, I think for basketball wise, I think this was better. Even though they did just recently sign this contract with NBC, Fox, TNT. Who am I missing? Is that it? CBS.
Yeah.
So like, but I just think that this is more about basketball and the money, the billions that'll come to basketball, and then I guess trickle down to everything else. Even though y'all know how I really feel about these ads and how they trickle down stuff, so it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. So staying in college sports, we're gonna kind of look at some college football week 1 reacts.
Yeah,
I think most of the weekend went as predicted. Lots of 51-0, 76-7 kind of games. I mean, I think the big ones probably are, USC, LSU.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw that coming. Brian Kelly's not really. People like Feinbaum want to lie and say he's a good coach, but he's not a good coach.
Yeah, no.
He was very much helped by being at Notre Dame, but he's not a good coach.
Yeah, and then I mean, I think the biggest upset, I mean, by far the biggest upset was the BC beating Florida State.
Well, let's not disrespect Miami. I mean, most people, I know I did. I thought Florida would destroy Miami because I think a lot of people think that the U is dead, but Miami beating Florida. There was a couple of games where you were like Houston losing. Like there's a couple of teams, but yeah, you're right. Obviously, the biggest one: USC, LSU, BC, Florida State. So we can get right into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what is going on with Florida State. It seems that they can't win. It's like these first games, they can't win. They lost their first game last year too, right?
I believe so. I think that was to like Texas or something, right? Like that was for a powerhouse school. It wasn't like.
But still, like it's I don't know.
I think the big thing is like they lost their first game, but they won their second game. They're 0-2 now, right? So like the biggest thing here is they lost to BC, a school very close to where you are in Connecticut. They lost to BC. BC's not really a football. It's not a powerhouse school. Like Matt Ryan went there, but it's not like a school that most people would be like.
Zay Flowers, they have a few standout players that have gone there, but nothing.
Right. So like, I think what's wrong with Florida State is they don't really have a good quarterback play, and this is no knock on DJ Uyangale. I think he's a good quarterback, but I don't think he's the quarterback that they need. They need more of a pro-style QB who can throw it down the field and not really rely on his legs, and DJ's not that player. And I feel like DJ isn't that player, and I think that's what's wrong with Florida State. Like they built a lot of things around having a good quarterback. I don't necessarily know if that person is on the roster right now. I also think that they're kind of screwed up because them and Clemson are suing the ACC, and they're not really. I said this off air to Morgan. They're not really helping themselves by being 0-2, both of those teams, right? Like, I feel like Florida State and Clemson are suffering from the same thing. Arrogance is begetting their downfall, right? Like they're two arrogant programs football wise, and they have their downfall. Like they didn't build well. They built everything around DJ, and their defense isn't doing well either. They're not stopping anybody. Like Florida State is just looking kind of fraudulent. Clemson, even though this isn't about Clemson, but I'll throw this one in here too. Clemson's looking bad too. I mean, I really Clemson and Florida State. I mean, the fall from grace is it's hilarious to watch as long as you're not associated with any of these schools.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So going off of that, let's look at week 2 and kind of see what games to watch. I mean, I think the biggest game, the games is most anticipated, is probably the Texas-Michigan game. Mm-hmm. It's the only game with 2 top 25 teams playing in it. Again, that doesn't mean that some of these other games aren't going to be good, but I think that's going to be a good game. Both teams won their first game, so going on into that, someone's got to lose. And so I think that'll be really exciting.
It'll definitely be Michigan. I think Texas. I feel like Michigan right now, just in watching, I don't know how much of that. I know you were at a bachelorette, so I don't know how much of that game you got to watch.
I watched a little bit of it, yeah.
But yeah, they really like that first game with Michigan had like I said, like first game after preseason energy, and like I just don't. Michigan just doesn't seem like the dominant team that they were. Like
I know.
They rotate quarterbacks, which to me in college football, if you're rotating quarterbacks, that means you don't have a quarterback. so
it never works. I don't really
So like, and I think like in Texas has Ewers, and if Ewers falls down, they have Arch Manning, right? And so like I just think Texas is the more dominant team, and I think that there's going to be a lot of teams doing this at Michigan's expense, that Michigan is going to just get this leftover energy of, all right, Harbaugh's not here. Time to go back down to earth. Time to humble Michigan. So I feel like if Donovan Edwards isn't dominant, then it's over for Michigan. So I think that's a big one there. I think another game to watch is going to be kind of biased of me, but Georgia Tech Syracuse. I mean, Georgia Tech beat Florida State, hung that L on Florida State when most of us didn't think they could. And I think this is a good thing for Syracuse that they get a big matchup here. Syracuse, Georgia Tech, sell out the dome, y'all. If you were in Syracuse under my voice, I want to see. I will be out of town, so I probably won't get to catch this game, but I want to hear my Syracuse sources about a sellout, I think it's a blue out at Syracuse. I think Syracuse should beat Georgia Tech, but I think that, I saw some problematic things in watching that game against Ohio. I didn't like that Ohio basically ran for 200 yards against a pretty stout Syracuse defense. I mean, that's Franz Brown's whole deal is playing defense. So I feel like, I guess the option offense that Georgia Tech runs, you kind of need to be able to stop the run. So I think that'll be a good game to watch, Georgia Tech, Syracuse.
Yeah, I messed up. There is another top 25 teams. So Tennessee is playing NC State. I think Tennessee should win that. But still will be a good game.
Yeah, I think that those are the games to watch on my end. Texas, Michigan, Syracuse, Georgia Tech. We want to congratulate your QB for the acting job. What an acting job on I don't know what his name. What's the quarterback's name of JMU? Did you see that acting job that he did?
Yeah. Awesome.
He was close to being my he's not him for that. But then I was like, you know what? That's just I can't hate the player. I gotta, it wasn't against Syracuse, so I love it.
It was very funny.
But I was like, somebody got his money's worth at theater class for that.
Oh yeah. All right, so going off of this, who's the best team in college football? I mean, I still think it's Georgia.
I agree with you. I think it's Georgia, and I don't
think most people would argue right now. And again, it's college football; anything can happen. This year is going to be interesting with the first year of the new playoff format. So,
I think it's I think it's Georgia, and then I think I want to give my solid number 2 to Penn State because I think that I think I saw enough in watching Penn State like to think that there's a lot more explosive plays like Drew Allers. It seemed like it was a lot of dink and duck and run the ball, but from what I saw against West Virginia, I was really impressed about how they really like used scheming and like used his arm strength. So I think Penn State is going to surprise some people when they're, I fully expect, like I said, no knock on Michigan fans. You won your national title last year, but I fully expect to fall off this year. And I think Penn State and Ohio State will be battling for supremacy. I don't think Ohio State is good. Their quarterback is currently playing in Syracuse, so I think that they're going to fall off, and I think Penn State will be right there to benefit. And I feel like James Franklin will be very, very happy because he told them patience is a virtue. So we'll see. But I definitely think it's Georgia and everybody else. But I think Penn State might make some noise. Might make more noise than most people think.
Yeah.
And again, I know it was against West Virginia, but I think I've been waiting to see Penn State open the playbook. And I think they finally have an OC who can do that.
I agree.
Yeah.
All righty. So we're leaving college football land and heading back down to the WNBA. The Indiana Fever clinched their playoff spot. I think we've been saying this all along that they needed that Olympic break, and they've come out firing since that Olympic break. They've looked, I don't want to say unstoppable since the Olympic break, but they've looked super, super powerful and really good. And I think, Caitlin Clark being kind of at the center of that. But I'm happy for them. I'm glad. It's good for the WNBA that they'll be in the playoffs. It'll get more views, more numbers. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for the Fever. I'm glad the drought is over. They hadn't made a playoff since Tamika Catchings retired. So I think it's good for them on that end. I think that obviously I think we both are in agreement that either they would make the playoffs or fall off out of it, but it's not going to be a long run. I don't want any Caitlin Clark fans to get used to this. Like, yeah. It's not going to be a long playoffs for the Fever. I think once they get them in a 2-3 game series, it's over for them. Yeah. But I think that this is great for the Fever. I still think that their coach needs to be fired because I think that Caitlin's more of a 2 guard than a 1. I know a lot of y'all think that she's a point guard, but she's not. It's just college basketball makes all these people who are 2 guards look like one. She's a shooting guard. I think they still need a point guard.
Yeah.
But I think I'm glad for the Fever. And I think that this is great for them, great for their pitch to free agents, but her fans, not her fans. Like these Caitlin Clark fans gotta tone it down, man, or else there won't be a team around her because there's so many. They're vicious. So they're like we might need a name for them. I don't know. It can't be like I don't know what the level of like viciousness between fandom is. Obviously, the Bay Hive is very up there because they're very vicious and they have a lot. They have a lot of stuff. I don't want to compare the Caitlin Clark Hive to that, but. The Bay Hive is number 1, and I guess it's you Swifties, and then maybe it's Caitlin Clark. But Caitlin Clark's fans, I should say, not her. But like,
and I think that kind of this kind of leads right into our next topic, talking about if Caitlin has clinched the rookie award of the year, and I mean, I think on the court, I think she has.
Before we get there, I just want to hear what's your stance on the fandoms? Like, is it
Bay Hive? That's what I'm saying. No, I think the Bay Hive is they're the craziest. I think they're the not the craziest. They're like the ones I wouldn't want to piss off most. Right. Swifties probably next, but like I don't know. The Tuanons are pretty crazy too.
But they're always jumping down. What's his name? So though, because
Sims always. You can't catch a break with them ever. But I think that for a lot of people, like on the court, Caitlin has definitely wrapped this up for sure. But a lot of people don't want her to win it because her fans are so exhausting and annoying. And I think that both can be true. Like, she can be an amazing player, but everybody can be sick and tired of hearing her name and her fans whining and complaining about everything. And that's not necessarily her fault. But again, we've said this, all it takes is for her to be like, everybody needs to just calm the F down. And she hasn't done that. And I'm not saying that she has to, that's her, she's required to, but it might help.
Yeah, I think so. I think she basically. I still think it's a close race. I think that Angel Reese continues to be impressive with her double streak. I definitely think that Caitlin Clark is a little bit more ahead than she was the last time we talked about this. I definitely think at this point, I definitely think it's Caitlin Clark's to lose. And I think that, now that her team, I said this, right? I said that after the All-Star break, whichever team like ascended or was doing better, that best player would win the Rookie of the Year. And so to stay with my logic, I have to say it's Caitlin Clark, but I still think Angel Reese is up and coming, and I think she'll be a superstar talent. But yeah, it's Caitlin Clark's to lose at this point. And I think that as long as Caitlin Clark continues to do what she's been doing, again, I don't know if this will end in a long playoff run. I think it's kind of over once the playoffs start. But good for Caitlin Clark. She's going to get her Rookie of the Year award. But Angel Reese will continue to have the national title over her, and they can't take that away from her. I'm of the mindset that Caitlin Clark is a superstar, is everything that she was advertised and more to be. But her fan base is exhausting, and they need to chill.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so who are the top teams in the W?
Oh no, we got one more.
Oh, I have a different order on my list. My goodness.
I forgot about this. So I added this. Is A'ja Wilson not only the MVP of the league, but the best player in it? So I can start here. A'ja Wilson is that girl, man. She is the god player of the WNBA. Like, I know that there are some Caitlin. This is what I mean, right? It's not only Caitlin Clark's fans, but also there are a lot of people in our line of work that boost her to ungodly levels that she is not at. She's not at A'ja Wilson's level. She's not dropping 41 and 17 in the game. She's not going to be like, I will be very surprised if the Aces or whoever is coming out of the West ends up playing the Indiana Fever in the WNBA finals in 2 months. like that is where I'm at. Or I'm sorry, in a month and a half, because it's in October. But I will be very surprised. Like, I fully expect A'ja Wilson to be MVP of this league, and I think she's the best player in it. She's at that, like I said, she's at a level that I haven't seen since before Joel Embiid got injured, where he was dropping 40, 50, these like video game numbers, right? Like, she's that girl. She's the MVP. She's the best player in the W right now. And like, there are a lot of boosters who want it to be Caitlin Clark, and a lot of her fans who want to disrespect A'ja Wilson. But you can't disrespect somebody who actually has a national title, got a couple of rings, and is on like the defending champs. Like, before Caitlin Clark was even a thought in the W, A'ja Wilson was dominating. So like, that's where we are. Like, A'ja Wilson is that girl, and until she falls off, I can't put Caitlin Clark or Angel or Eric. Like, Erica's up there too. Like, I can't put Erica above her. Like, I can't put Jewel Lloyd. Like, it's A'ja Wilson and there's everybody else for me. Like, she's the best player in it. She's the MVP of the league, and she might be, speaking of UConn, she might get the back before UConn. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's incredible. She's definitely the best player in the league. Definitely the MVP. I don't even think it's a question. But I don't think that you can tell that to Caitlin Clark's fan base, and they'll find something mean to say to you about that. I don't know why. I don't know why they take everything so personal. But they do, and that's kind of what we mean by, like, they gotta chill. Like, it's okay to say that A'ja Wilson is better than Caitlin Clark right now. That's okay. It's a fact. That's a fact. And that's okay to say. So I just think that, again, we got to chill a little bit, because she is the best player. There's no doubt about it. So best player, MVP, hands down.
Yeah. All right. So now to top teams in the W. So you want to go first or should I?
Sure. I mean, I think that the Liberty, for me, it's the Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Aces, their record doesn't represent how good they are either. I mean, I know they're technically ranked fourth, fourth overall, second in the West. But I think they're really good, and I think that they'll be tough to beat in a 4-3 game series. Their roster is just so freaking stacked. So if that was, I had to pick my guess for who was going to play, it would be the Liberty Aces. Rematch of last year. I mean, the Sun looked really good. I always got to root for my hometown team, right? And then the Mystics, ladies, you got to lose some more games. Come on, we've won 10 games. What are we doing? We got to start losing.
For those of you that this is your first time watching the show again, Morgan has this Paige Bueckers to Washington Mystics agenda. Like she wants to see Elena Delle Donne and Paige Bueckers on the same team.
Yeah.
So that's
Aaliyah Boston.
That's her agenda.
Aaliyah Edwards. Sorry, not Aaliyah Boston. Aaliyah Edwards.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. That's her. She wants UConn together, and then she wants them to suck again, so Ozzie Fun can be a
Yes, of course.
So for me, obviously, it's the Liberty, it's the Sun. Even though they did just lose to the Fever, it's still the Sun. It's the Storm. I just can't get over what I've seen from the Storm. It's the Seattle Storm, and then it's I can't believe you keep doing this and keep missing the Fisa Collier and the Lynx. Like
I know. You know that they I don't know why. They're not my favorite team. I don't know.
The Lynx continue to just be there and just keep beating your favorites. like they continue to just be there and keep beating your favorites. So but I can't. I gotta put the Lynx and the Storm continue for me to be over the Aces. I think that the Aces will end up probably in the whatever the champ in the conference finals. But I could totally see it being Aces Sun, Aces Liberty. There's going to be some type of Aces and somebody, or I could easily just see it being the Storm and the Lynx too, because I think that Seattle is kind of built to beat Las Vegas, and I kind of think that them falling off kind of gave me a little bit of a pause, just because like I'm used to seeing Asia dominating, obviously, and then Chelsea, everybody else picking up the slack. So I feel like the slack hasn't been being picked up by Jackie and them, and they need to pick it up. But I think as long as A'ja Wilson's on the court, the Aces have a chance. And I think that they might be going back to back, but they'll probably be against the Connecticut Sun. But the Liberty right now, the clear number ones here. And they until I see them go through what the Aces just went through, it'll always be the Liberty just a little bit ahead of the Connecticut Sun for me at number one. But so we'll either get Liberty Aces or Aces Connecticut Sun. Either way, we know Morgan will be happy. As long as the Mystics continue to lose. To give them another PSA, public service announcement over there.
No, I'm good.
All right. Oh, so this is more for me, but I'll let Morgan go first here. Are the Sixers seriously considering moving to Jersey? Y'all got to hear this in my accent. Moving to Jersey if they do not get their new stadium. Morgan?
I mean, teams do it all the time. You see the Chiefs freaking threatening to move if they don't get a new stadium built. Are they real threats? I don't know. But, I mean, I also like Sixers. Like, no offense. Don't get mad when I say this, Sixers fans. But, like, you don't have any leverage right now. Like, go win a title and then come back and do this. You know what I mean?
No, they have leverage.
What's the leverage? I mean, leverage is leaving, obviously, but like
$1.6 billion of their private money and jobs that they're going to take to Camden.
True, that's true. But I mean, I don't know. I see this happening in sports all the time. And I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I think that it's a real threat. Of course, it's a real threat. Every team wants a new stadium. Is Philly gonna do it? I don't know. I mean, they freaking love the Sixers. So I don't know. What do you think?
So here's what I'm gonna say. This is a leverage play, but it's very real because the main owner, as you know, Josh is from Jersey. He's a Jersey venture capitalist. So I've told Sixers fans, and you've heard me say this on this podcast for a while, that Jersey has always been a threat because where are the Sixers practice facilities? In Camden, New Jersey. So Jersey has always been a threat. And a lot of people in Philadelphia don't like me saying this, but I've said this for a while since they put their practice facility across the river in Jersey, literally across the Delaware in Jersey, that Jersey is a threat. Like Camden is a threat. Like they don't have anything besides the New Jersey Devils, and they're an embarrassment to the state of New Jersey. Like so like when Rutgers University is the professional team over the actual professional hockey team, you got a problem. So, I'm of the mindset that either way, they're still going to keep the name, right? This wouldn't be the first team to play in Jersey and still keep the big city name. Looking at you, New York Jets and New York Giants. But I'm of the mindset that this is real, but to give people some background here who are non-Philadelphians, right? So the Sixers basically are willing to do what most teams don't do, which is because they're owners. You saw the Sixers main owner buy Morgan's team, the Washington Commanders, and all he really needed was Magic Johnson, but he could have bought it himself with his money that he gets off of Joel Embiid and them. He also owns the New Jersey Devils. So like there are a lot of people that are like, how can you own the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia team? He owns the Devils, man. Like and he would have owned the New York Mets had they not bigfooted him out of it. Like the man's stated goal was to own a team in the whole Northeast region. So like he wants a team in every region. So he's got one in Philly, got one in DC, got one in Jersey. He just needs New York and Boston, and he's good. So like I am of the mind. So some background here. They want to put $1.6 billion of their own money into building the stadium in downtown Philadelphia. Some of y'all have heard that it's in Chinatown. That's not true. Where this building is like more in downtown Center City, Philadelphia, than it is actually in Chinatown. Like it does not touch the borders of Chinatown. Chinatown has outsized political influence in Philly, same as Comcast. And this is where the impasse is. The building that the Sixers currently reside in is owned by Comcast. They are in a battle right now to try and keep the Sixers there because they know that once the Sixers leave, it'll just be event parking, events, Villanova basketball, and the Flyers. And only really outside of the events and the Villanova basketball, only two of those things are a draw. The Flyers are not one of them. So I am of the mindset that this is a real threat. The Governor Josh Shapiro, a person that I know a lot of you outside of PA are becoming very much aware of. He said earlier today that he's very confident that the Sixers will stay in Philly. Now, Morgan, you asked what's the Sixers' leverage besides the money and the jobs, is the fact that the governor of Pennsylvania is very much a big Sixers fan. His political future rests and his political future, the mayor's political future. There's a lot of political futures on the line that rest on keeping the Sixers in Philly and letting that stadium be built. Because there's nothing there in downtown Philadelphia. Right now, it's a failing mall that's going bankrupt, where they want to put it at. And, I am very sensitive to the gentrification argument, but I feel like I'd be more sensitive to it outside of being a criminal, having another degree in criminology. I feel like I'd be more sensitive to it if the people in Chinatown weren't saying that, but also saying that, the Sixers fans, they're basically hitting Sixers fans with the whole, like, they're rowdy. We don't want them here. Sixers fans are majority black, which is the majority of the city. You know that, right? Like, what are you saying? Like that's the whole thing too. Like, y'all act like these are Eagles fans, like they're gonna come and tear down Chinatown. Like, I'm of the mindset that Chinatown and the other half of this being Comcast has too much political influence anyway. And I feel like the Sixers are going to get the stadium just because there's nothing down there. They have a lot of plans. There's a whole plan about downtown Philadelphia. Y'all can easily Google it and all of Philadelphia, there's this plan to make it more accessible, more money. And if you're going to put a water park near the train station, if you're going to extend the Schuylkill River Trail and make it connect all the way to Penn's Landing, if you're going to make a Delaware River Trail that connects, there's a bridge that connects a footbridge. You'll love this, Morgan. A footbridge that you can run over and be in Jersey and then run back and be back in Philadelphia. And like it takes you all over the city. And that's going to happen if you want people. We just happen to be in the age group, the 25 to 45 age group. If you want people to be downtown to spend some money and make Philadelphia, make all other cities jealous by having all of that there, you kind of need a stadium. like I know that there's a lot of Philadelphians that are like, but Kylan, we have it made right now. Traffic sucks. Like I just was at a Phillies game, as Morgan knows, a couple of months ago. Took the subway there. Had a friend there. She decided to take me and my other friend home. It took us like an hour and a half to get out that traffic. So let me tell you, man, like it is so much better to take the subway. And like this is the problem with South Philly right now. You can literally, as Morgan knows because she's been here for games, you can literally come into that stadium, maybe go to Xfinity Live for some food, then go on home, and that's your experience in Philadelphia right there. Games, and that's it. Then you go home. You go down I-95 and 76 back to New York, back to Boston, back to Jersey, back to wherever you're coming from, and that's the problem. And I think that the Sixers moving, and basically the other problem is, like anybody who's rented, like the Sixers are renters of the Wells Fargo Center, right? And they deserve to have their own stadium where they can make their own money, get all of the profit, set their own schedule, get more marquee games, because it's criminal that it's only every other year that Philadelphia can get, that the Sixers can play on Christmas Day, because they got to think around what works between whatever they do with the court, whatever they do to make sure that the Flyers can get a Christmas game, which no one wants to watch anyway, and or the Sixers. Like the Sixers should be on my TV every Christmas Day. Like that's my thing. Every Christmas Day, I should be watching a Sixers game. I should have to do like a coin toss. Like what happened last year, what happened last December should be happening every year. Eagles, Sixers playing on Christmas Day. That's what I should see. But we don't do it. So I think this is a very real threat. But I think it's also a leverage play, and they ultimately got what they wanted. The governor, who can overrule everybody, has said that they will stay in Philadelphia. And I feel like that's very much a threat to local government to get it together so the stadium can open in 2031. Crazy that's 7 years from now. But yeah, 2031, this new stadium will be built. I have no sourcing on this, but this new stadium will be built. I've told people forever that Chinatown and Comcast are about to get slapped down the size because these stadiums are going to be built. And like I said, the gentrification argument is a real one, but it won't end up like I lived in DC, Morgan's from there. It's not going to end up like Chinatown. It's not going to end up like the Verizon Center, because Philadelphia, as Morgan can tell you from living and being in the DMV area, the one failure that DC did that Philadelphia won't do is they will actually like have something around there, and it won't just be, oh look, I'm in the subway. Here's the stadium, and all right, see ya. Like it is in DC. So that's my little that's my little spill on it. Morgan, you got anything else to add? You want to defend the way DC built around?
No. That stadium sucks where it is. All right, and that is about to wrap it up. So we're going to do some of our favorite segments. So we're going to do the shout-out segment. Mine is going to be, I don't know if anybody saw today that Connecticut is putting up new signs as you drive into Connecticut. And so they say, welcome to Connecticut, the basketball, the basketball capital of the world. So that's very fun for anybody in Connecticut. So that's my shout-out. Shout-out to changing the signs in Connecticut to what they deserve to be.
Okay. Shout out to the Philadelphia Phillies for rebounding. It was looking kind of bad there for a while. People were abandoning the ship, and they've kind of settled. Good thing that they had that outsized lead. Now that the Braves are charging, shout out to the Phillies for that. What else? Shout out to the Eagles. They welcomed some Olympic gold medalists to local Olympic gold medalists. So shout out to them for that. Looking really good there. What else? Oh, shout out to the para Olympic athletes doing really, really well. On that front, I think that's it that I know of. So unless you have anything to add.
No, that's all. That's all I got.
All right, he's not him, she's not her, and they aren't them. Morgan, you first.
Ooh, okay. He's not him. Mine's Hassan Reddick. I'm sick and tired of talking about him. I just want him to. Maybe it's the Jets too. I don't know. It's that whole situation. I'm just sick and tired of hearing about it. I just want them to make up their decision, make up their mind, and just tell us what it's going to be. Again, I said this earlier, I'm so sick of talking about it. I'm so sick of hearing about it. I can't be bothered anymore. They aren't them is going to go to the mass people. And this might come back to bite me in the butt. It might. All this stuff on social media today about how Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are going to break up on September 24th and leaked documents, this and that. And I just think people are stupid and it's not true. And
what's the significance of September 24th?
No, there's no significance. It's just they apparently found these fake PR papers. I don't know. I'm over it. Let people enjoy their relationship. So those are mine. I don't have a she's not her. Ladies have been nice this week.
All right, so he's not her. So hold on. I mean, he's not him. Hold on. Let me share this story because I don't know if a lot of you have heard about this story. So let me share screen real quick. Let's get technological. So he's not him to, I hope I'm saying her name right, Rebecca Shep-Tige. Morgan, I know you did Olympics. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Rebecca Shep-Tige, is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know how to pronounce her name, but yeah, this story's crazy.
Yeah. So he's not him to Rebecca Shep-Tige's boyfriend, because for those of you that have not heard, and I'm sorry for this in advertisement here, for IHG, but she was set on fire, I believe, yesterday, and is being treated for 75% burns because her boyfriend, sounds like some domestic violence was going on, and her boyfriend got mad at her and decided to burn her. Luckily, they were able to put her out. And she's being treated for burns on 75% of her body. But this is a girl who I believe is a gold medalist.
I don't know if she's a gold medalist. She definitely, yes. I believe she medaled at some point. I don't know if she medaled at these Olympics.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see. I believe she is a medal. Oh no, she didn't win. She competed at the 10-kilometer race. She finished in 44th place. See, that's why you gotta check yourself, guys. But she's an Olympian who competed, and she got burned by her boyfriend. And guys, people just have to learn, men and women, when you're in relationships, walk away from a situation. Like, don't be the evil person that gets mad at somebody. And we don't know all the details here. We just know that whatever happened ended up in her being set on fire, and now she has 75% burns on her body. She may or may not be ever able to compete at the Olympics again. But either way, y'all got to be better in dealing with relationships. So he's not him to Rebecca Shep-Tige's boyfriend. Hopefully he gets brought to justice, because there's no excuse for that. I don't care what she said. There's no excuse for whatever the argument, whatever the discussion was, because some of y'all don't have arguments, y'all have discussions. Whatever happened didn't need to end up in her being set on fire. So that's he's not him. My they aren't them. To Caitlin, to my she's not her, Nancy Lieberman. I don't know why you're bringing up a dead issue and making more of an issue about it. Cheryl Swoops, bringing that back up, the Cheryl Swoops Caitlin Clark versus Caitlin Clark and her fans. Cheryl Swoops said what she said. She basically said that she wouldn't translate, and for the first half of the season, she was right. She didn't translate. Now she's doing better, but this kind of makes me, you know, it kind of makes me feel what I felt about when Becky Hammon said, you know, a Jalen Brunson fronted team would never win a championship, and she wound up being right this year. Everybody was like saying, look at, she was raw. Like, these women basketball players, especially ones who built the league like a Cheryl Swoops, deserve respect. You new fans and you media personalities who just started paying attention. Morgan knows I've said this before, like, media as a whole is not ready for the providence of the WNBA because they don't know how to cover these issues because they're used to being able to cover it from you know, LeBron's internet fans hate Kobe and that's it. They're used to covering it from like a fantastical point of view, not dealing with real legitimate beefs and dealing with the misogyny, racism, and other things that play into how these athletes are covered. So, you know, she's not heard of Nancy Lieberman bringing up a dead issue. My they aren't them to the Chicago Sun. Like, what are y'all, speaking of the point of what I just said, what are y'all doing once again, making your players look bad? And then you wonder why the Chicago Sky players don't want to talk to you. Like, you know, once again, you made a non-issue. It should have just been a picture of Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark or a non-confrontational picture, but you put the picture of Caitlin Clark getting a hard foul. Like, that happens like at least once a game that she gets a hard foul. Like, nobody else does it, but the Chicago Sun is like becoming negligent and continuing to do this, putting their local players through more racist and misogynistic abuse, and then they wonder why they don't want to talk to them. Like, again, media personalities, media producers, national media people, I beg of you to do better. I beg of you to look through your lens of bias and to figure out why, as was there's probably a majority white newsroom over there, why y'all thought that was a good idea. After what y'all did to Angel Reese last time, why y'all thought that was a good idea to once again put a black player for the Sky next to Caitlin Clark and have that picture of her being pushed down and then acting like ignorant to when it happens and these players being like, I'm getting abused because of this picture that was taken out of context. And now the Clark hive is coming after me. And now I got to deactivate Twitter. It's not fun to be in Chicago anymore. I should be having fun and being able to enjoy myself. The Chicago Sky have to hire security now. Angel Reese is getting harassed by conservative people for Outkick about how she really feels about Caitlin Clark. We've got all this stuff happening all from a stupid picture from a photog who took a picture that probably shouldn't have been the main thumbnail. But y'all idiots, yeah, I'm calling y'all idiots, decided to put that there and then acting idiotic, and then you still want them, and then you all wonder why they don't want to talk to you. I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to talk to you. Morgan, can you understand why they wouldn't want to talk to you know, the people at the Chicago Sun? I can't understand why they wouldn't want to talk to them. Like, you know, y'all just got to be better, man. You know,
yeah.
You know, and in doing that, I can't even talk about Pat McAfee and his frat dreams. And we all saw that picture of how Nick Saban is out here just looking real uncomfortable next to Pat McAfee. He's living out his frat boy dreams at 40 years old. I can't talk about that, though, because I got to put more energy into talking about racism, misogyny, and all this other stuff that go on in these newsrooms and how it's covered and how we're not ready as a media organization to be media as a profession. We're not ready for this WNBA stuff, like, to be more prominent than it is, because y'all don't know how to cover it. Y'all know how to cover it from like a NBA men versus men, fandom versus fandom type of thing, but y'all don't know how to cover it right. That's just where I'm at with it. That's my day, aren't them?
All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we are wrapped for today.
I think that's a record. An hour and 8. An hour.
I know. That was short and sweet. Right to the point. Keep an eye on our socials. Enjoy week 1 of the NFL, week 2 of college football. We will be back sometime next week to break down the games from this week, and preview next week's and any other breaking news that is there. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Right, and the NCAA's happy because we didn't talk about them this week. See, we didn't even. All right, y'all. See y'all later. Morgan, get well soon. enjoy the games. Some people got a draft today, so good luck, y'all.
Good luck.